Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike here, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Sunday, May the 5th. It's race number 7 at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Senorita Stakes. We're going down the hill at about 6.5 furlongs. This race is for 3-year-old fillies, and we have several horses coming out of the Angel's Flight going down the hill on April the 7th. Lone won that race, but it was a tight photo with Alluring. Girl of My Dreams ran third. Good efforts from all three, I thought.
Yeah, it was a close finish at the end, but it did feel like the winner of that race was probably just best, Dan, considering the trips everyone pulled. I feel like this race could set up the same way, though. Don't you kind of feel like Girl of My Dreams has got the rail here on the lead again?
I think Girl of My Dreams has got to go. And as we take a look at our Timeform US pace projector, we see Girl of My Dreams up close. Rascality, who was a gate-to-wire winner in her turf debut, she figures to be close to the pace as well. I just think Girl of My Dreams has that sharp early speed, Mike. I think she's going to make the lead. It'll be interesting to see if Alluring can tuck into that catbird seat.
Yeah, that's kind of how I saw it playing out, too. I mean, I suppose Rascality here stepping up right off of a win in her turf debut. I guess they could get aggressive with her again. I just sort of felt like the one was faster.
Girl of My Dreams is speed. She went gate to wire in her only lifetime win. That was going the straight 6.5 furlongs earlier in the year. She blasted out to the lead in the Angel's Flight last time out and just got a little bit tired late. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to rate her a little bit more and try to save something for the end, if Rascality doesn't go with her, that is.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't really know what she could do differently to make it a different outcome. I mean, she went a solid pace in there, but she was pretty loose. It's not like she had a ton of pressure up there, and she was just no match for the 1-2 finish. She's got that one win where they just let her walk on the lead on a slow pace, and otherwise, the finish just hasn't been there for her so far.
I liked what I saw from Long last year in France, so much so that I actually picked her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, which was, in hindsight, probably a big mistake because she didn't seem to handle the two turns and she didn't seem to handle the company. Phil D'Amato gave her some time off and she returned with this race in the Angel's Flight going down the hill, and she just seemed to handle the downhill very well. She changed leads on the dirt. She stayed on her right lead, and she just keeps grinding and grinding away, and eventually she's going to get Alluring on the wire.
Yeah, just going to get up here. The trip was a good one overall, but the trip was also a good one for Alluring, and it was also a good one for Girl of My Dreams. They were both ahead of her at the top of the stretch, and she's just going to come with a really determined late run and just get there. She ran very well in that race, Dan. She'll be tough right back in this race. The question is, I guess, what kind of price do you want to take out her now? Because I suppose she's favored this time.
Can you make a case, though, Mike, that Alluring had a slightly tougher trip than Long, simply for the fact that she was on a hard chase behind that loose speed, had to work to get to that horse, got to the front, and then might have been softened up just enough to get beat a nose?
I mean, it certainly would be fair. It's not necessarily how I looked at it. I thought she actually had a really good trip in there, and ultimately, I just thought she had no excuse not to win. That being said, she still ran fine. I really liked her first 3 starts. I mean, I think she showed a lot of potential in her first 3 starts, and even though she just got nailed last time, I'm disappointed in her, but I'm not terribly disappointed in her. I won't be surprised when she turns the tables this time.
The number 4, Flattery, will be making her first start since the Breeders' Cup. She didn't fire that day. She was a pretty decent middle distance runner as a 2-year-old filly in Southern California. I don't mind horses cutting back to the 6.5, but I do wonder if Peter Urton's using this race as a prep for maybe a stretch out next time.
I worry about that too. I also just sort of feel like she probably fits pretty well in this race. And isn't there just a chance where she just gets overlooked totally in this race and maybe is a really fair price? I mean, listen, I don't love her in here, but the bigger the price she is, the more interested I'll become.
Rascality, the number 5, made her turf debut a winning one in this race in late February, going 3/4 of a mile. She showed good early speed and she kept right on trucking. She wins very easily, Mike. I think this filly has a lot of upside potential, and I won't be surprised if she's the one sitting second early on the attack turning into the stretch.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. I wonder if moving up into this field, and listen, she's got a figure that says she fits with these horses. She obviously looks really good winning. And so maybe stepping up just isn't going to be that hard for her. I feel like it is going to be. I think she's facing at least 3 really good horses in here. And she also has a speed down to the inside that's, if she's going to try to get that same trip that she got last time, that horse is going to really make her work in here.
If the pace heats up, I wonder if the six visually can take advantage at a price, removing blinkers and cutting back in distance. This is a horse that's sort of run evenly in her last few tries. No match for Antifona in the Sweet Life. The China Doll really didn't fire, although maybe that wasn't the cleanest trip for her. I think she's a little bit better than she looks on paper. For her, though, it's all about setup and trip.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is a chance though that she gets a proper setup in this race, so maybe that helps her. The issue I had is she faced a couple of these in the Sweet Life. I didn't think she ran as well as the other two horses that are back in here that day. And even if there is pace in front of her, she's not the best closer in this race.
That might be Shamrockin', the number 7, who's won 2 of 3 starts, and I really didn't think ran badly at all the one time she lost 2 starts back. I thought that was a decent performance. But here's her most recent start. Calbred first level allowance. She is absolutely last. Turning into the stretch, she swings widest. She comes fastest.
Yeah, she came from last to first to win her career debut. She comes from last to first to win this race, and I guess that's given her connections confidence here to step her up to try some much tougher competition in this spot. And she's another one. I have no knocks on the races that she's run so far. I don't think she's the best closer in this race.
First time against open company, first time going down the hill. Maybe Antifona is the best closer in this race. She was 4th in the Angels' Flight last time out, behind Lone and Alluring. And maybe of the horses out of there, she had sort of the worst setup. She had a lot of work to do turning into the stretch.
She did, and she was also between horses for a long way in there, and so maybe that wasn't, exactly where she wanted to be in there. She did make up ground. She never looked like she was going to win. You go back 3 starts to that Sweet Life, though, Dan, the first time that John Sadler cut her back. You talk about a horse who comes with a big finish from off the pace. It was Antifona in that race. If she runs that race back, she can win here.
She is very comfortable going down the hill. The pace should be honest. Expect her to run on in the stretch. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Senorita. You're going with Alluring, Mike. I think she can tuck into a good trip behind the speeds, get the jump on the true closers.
I looked at it that way too. I just want to give her one chance to read that. I'm a fan of hers. I really like the way she started her career. So listen, the horse, your top pick, she was best in that race last time. I have no real knocks on her. I'm just going to give Alluring one more shot to try to turn the tables.
I liked what I saw from Lone last year overseas against some pretty good competition. The Breeders' Cup might have been too far and too tough, but that was a likable return to the races where she really wanted it. I think from mid-pack she can get a similar trip. 3285 for Mike, 2635 for me. It's the Grade 3 Senorita at Santa Anita on Sunday. Good luck.